easily. So I'm gonna like phase in here, not get too crazy. I may get crazy and you're like, yo, what are you talking about, Megan? And that's fine. You don't have to use the things I say. My goal is just to give you, basically, this is a session on hacks. It's basically Google hacks pertaining to Gmail, Google Calendar, and spreadsheets. And this is just different hacks and ways that I use them for my personal and my professional life. So I hope that you can at least just take one thing for each platform. That's your goal today. One thing, one new trick that you're like, oh, this is a little game changer, and you're gonna use it from now on. So let's do this. Again, I love G Suite. It is no longer G Suite. As you may have noticed through my copy, it is Google Workspace now. I don't know when they rebranded, but they did. Pandemic glow up, whatever. And so it's now Google Workspace. Of the Google Workspace, I would say I religiously use Docs, spreadsheets. Actually, Docs I don't really use anymore with Notion, because Notion pretty much is a Google Doc, right? Except it's better because it's linked to all your shit in one place. So I actually have stopped. I haven't used Google Docs since I switched to Notion, but I do still use Google Spreadsheets. And I'm going to tell you different reasons why. It's just better I think it's better. I use Google Forms, Google Keep. Google Keep is my life. I could do a full 2 hours on Google Keep. And yes, no one usually uses it. I have put so many people onto it. It's never talked about. The next Google Workspace session, we'll talk about Google Keep, because yeah, I'm not even gonna get into it. It's a game changer. But these in particular, I chose these three as my first ones because, I mean, we use our Gmail to literally live, right? Our calendar, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. And then the spreadsheets I use in nerdy ways to keep myself focused. So we're gonna go through some habit trackers. We're gonna go through some different time tracking. I'm gonna show you how I build timesheets for myself and for my team. But yeah, we'll get into that. So throughout this whole time, if you ever have a question, this is informal. It's a party. We're here to chill. Ask me questions. No need to put it in the chat. You can speak. You good. And I'm gonna stop sharing my sound and share my screen. Actually, I want to share my entire screen with you. So let me just hide my business. Not trying to traumatize any children. Why is that productivity lady naked? All right, dope. Let me just close my finders. All right, there we go. So share. Boom. So right now, you can see my whole jam. This is our agenda. So let me just close this. Boom. Okay, what I want to show you first. Oh, before we even dive in, I want to tell you about Google Chrome profiles. Obviously, not obviously, let me not assume. A big part of what we're doing is the assumption that you are using Google Chrome. Because I mean, it's Google products, right? And so you can use them in different browsers, but what I will say is if you have a Mac, although Safari is what comes with Macs, Google Chrome has been known to be more friendly to a Mac, for them to last longer. So I don't use Safari. I probably haven't used Safari since '93. I only use Chrome. And then aside from that, it's just the integration, right? It's like, I don't know if you know this, but I have Google Chrome on my phone. I have Google Chrome on my computers. And so all of my bookmarks are synced. So anything I bookmark here, it's bookmarked there. I can, in your Google Chrome profile on your phone, you can share things to your computer. I do that all the time. So if you're on a page and you're like, when you're like, damn, I want to see this on my computer, you can share it. And I'll tell you real quick, I have an Android, so it may be different, but I know it's possible regardless. So if you're on a page in Google Chrome on your phone or vice versa, and you hit share, when that share pops up, you're going to see send to your devices. So if I hit send to my devices, it's MacBook Pro, because my MacBook Pro is signed into all my Chrome profiles. And then it makes a notification that pops up on my computer and it's like, hey, you wanted to see this page, and then boom, the page opens. Game changer. So that's one little hack. I strongly suggest just working out of Google Chrome all the time. A second thing is Google Chrome profiles. And this is why I'm saying this. I love segmentation. So my life is compartmentalized by the category of my life. And I do that with Google Chrome profiles. So you see, if I double tap my icon, I have Desiree. She's a client of mine. And she will give me her passwords for her ConvertKit and her Squarespace and stuff. But I obviously have ConvertKit and Squarespace for myself, right? For my business. So why would I want to keep logging out of my shit to log into hers? So instead, I just have a Google Chrome profile and I don't have to keep retyping in all her passwords. They're just saved there. This is my general. This is my nerdy. I was taking a course. So I made a whole Chrome profile for that course to have all the login stuff, the bookmarks, the YouTube videos that we were learning, all that stuff. So if you're in school, have your personal Google Chrome profile, and then you make your other one. I have Life Made Easy. I have Success at Life Made Easy, which is like technically Life Made Easy. And then I have Flowers. I'm the COO of a CBD company based out of DC. And so I have all of our stuff there because I run so many of our operations. And again, I don't want to keep logging in and out of things. So everything is stored. So if I go to Flowers, this is all my stuff. This is my timesheet. This is the email. Everything's already ready. If I close this, it's going to be the same thing when I come back. So if I go back, Flowers, same shit. So this is, there's just a great way also to not have a bunch of tabs open. So if you want to do that, you can come here and double tap. Actually, no, I'm lying. You come to your top and you hit people and you just add a person. And so you can add as many profiles as you like. You can, your business, again, at least at a minimum, I feel like professional, personal. So if you have a job, separate them, especially because you know how a lot of companies, like this is my business email and it's in Gmail. When you have a Gmail for your job, let's say, you work at Target and you have your Megan at Target and you have a Gmail email, your company, you give them the rights to seeing everything that you access and you touch while you're logged into that email address. So if you have your personal and your professional in the same browser, technically and legally, because you sign off on this when you join that company, you have to, when you take this email, it's one of those, terms and conditions, they can see everything. So separate them because you don't want them in your business. They don't need to know about that. So at a minimum, personal, professional, that's your homework for today, is separate them. And then you can make as many more as you wish. On a quick note, these are just general Google things, tabs. Let's open a bunch of things. So you're working on a project, you're researching a bunch of people or whatever, who knows what you're doing, but you know that you have a bunch of tabs and they're all related to each other. So you see how I right click on this tab, you're gonna hit add to new group. And I'm gonna say fun stuff. And I'm gonna, fun stuff. I'm gonna make it pink. And I'm gonna hit enter. And now I have fun stuff. And now you can drag this tab into fun stuff. You can drag all of these. You can even tap it and say, add to group, because you can make as many groups as you want, fun stuff. And then you're like, okay, dope. They're all color coordinated. They're all grouped together, but I don't really want to see them right now. You tap it. And we're gonna, actually, which one is it? Is it this one? Where is it? I'm gonna find it. New tab, add to tab, remove, move tab to new window, blah, 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 blah. Do I tap it? Is that how? I usually collapse them. I just can't remember how. Ungroup, maybe it's closed group. No, closed group closes the whole group. Let's see, let's figure it out. Because then you get this pretty rainbow of organized groups. So let's open a bunch of things. Let's group this, add to a new group. Yeah. Make you pink. Cool. Oh, there we go. You just tap it once. I was tapping it twice. So for example, let's move all of these to pink. All of these are in the fun group. Tap yeah. Or maybe not. Am I crazy? You saw that happening, right? I'm not insane. You know it was happening. Tap, 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 tap in. All right. It thinks I'm crazy. Try it on your end, because I know it just works. I just saw it. And just tap it, and that closes the group. So you can make a bunch of different grouped tabs by the projects that you're working on. Boom. So those are just general Google things. Let's start fresh. We're gonna go in success, and let me just cross-reference Notion for Life. Make sure I go in order. We're gonna start with Gmail. Okay. So basic things. This email address, I haven't really touched it at all. I think all it really has is my email signature set up. And so just in case you don't have your email signature set up, I'm going to walk you through it. Super simple. All of the magic lives in these settings. And there are so many different things that you can do here. Your signature is important for many, many reasons. One, when you don't have a signature, it looks mad spammy. Two, you may have noticed when you receive emails from me, I'll have something after my signature. And so a lot of people use that space for quotes. I use that space to sell or to join my email list. Do you want to hear more from me? Join my email list. When I was looking for a job, I would put, I'm looking for a new role and blah, 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 blah. Know anyone or have any, know any leads, send them my way. You're moving to a new city. Hey, did you know I'm moving to LA next month? Have any friends in the area that you think I connect with? Send them my way. You can use that signature for whatever you want. And so you can get creative with it, but at a minimum, I would say you put your name. And then also, like, even if you don't care and you do care about your following, link to your IG. Even if it's just your personal email, link to your Instagram. Like, yo, slide in my DMs on Instagram. If you don't want to talk via email, right? Maybe you don't like to speak via email. Maybe you want them to message you on WhatsApp. Maybe you want them to be in your DMs. You can do that. You can say, hey, if you prefer, slide in my DMs to finish this conversation, especially when you're pitching. If you're sales pitching, that can be a part of it as well. So you can get really creative with your email signature. But at a minimum, have an email signature for sure, on every email account that you have. Then this, we're going to change this now because I opened this in Mexico, so they spelled it wrong. So I'm going to change that to United States. Undo send, key feature. Luckily now, because I don't know why they did this anyway, luckily now it's built in. You see that it's here. Before, this was an add-on. You see right here are add-ons. You can add on a bunch of different things. And you would have to go in and like add on and manually do it. So luckily they have it here now. I'm actually going to boost this to 20 seconds because why not? Why not? And I'm going to make this reply because I am not a reply all type of person. And that's pretty much it. So you can play around in these settings. I won't go too deep into it. I mostly just wanted to, this is your out of office. If you are out of office, I do like to always have an out of office on if I'm not checking my email. But play around, get familiar with those. But that's the main one I wanted to communicate is your email signature. Next, let me show you filters. So I may have to, let's go to, oh, you know what? My personal email is a mess because your girl was in the jungle and I just get way too many emails. So let me filter one. This is from me. Let's do Paramount. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't want to see emails from Paramount anymore. I'm over this. I'm gonna hit these three dots right here. And I'm gonna filter message like these. I do this probably once a day, honestly. Whenever you get like spammy emails, when you unsubscribe from something and you keep getting it and you're like, I know I unsubscribed, do this. Because then you just don't have to see it anyway. So in that case, let's say you unsubscribe from something and they keep spamming you. You're gonna do as I just did, create a filter, just delete it. And then now moving forward, and then also you can also apply filter to one matching conversation. So it applies to everything that already exists in your inbox from them. Moving forward, you're not gonna get shit from them again. It's gonna be deleted. And then that's it. I'm not gonna actually create it, but that's all. And so here's another way that I've used this is, okay, here's one. You know how if you apply for a job sometimes they're like in the email subject, put I love chocolate ice cream, whatever the sentence is, right? But they say specifically to put a certain email subject. That's because they create a filter and they're filtering all of the applications into one folder so that they don't have to just have their inbox spammed. And so what you would do with that is, let's say you did that, right? You're like, oh, use, I love chocolate, subject. I love chocolate. Boom. You're going to create a filter. And then also you see how it has attachment. You can say only the ones that have attachments, because maybe you're like Megan. Well, it depends on your instructions. I'm very big on when I'm hiring people following the directions. If you don't follow them from the jump, I'm not gonna. So what if someone said attach your resume? They specifically said attach your resume. Now you can say, yo, they didn't attach it, they're going to the garbage. If they did attach it, they're going to the folder. So you're going to create the filter, and then you can make any label that you want. And you can say job apps. You can say, you can make it whatever you want. Again, you can do it for your bank, right? You can put you can make filters. You can make a money folder. And every time all of your banks email you, all of your money notifications, you create filters for those email addresses. So they all go into one folder. And you're like, every Sunday at 11 a.m., I clean up that folder, right? You can use it, so many things you can do with these. You're planning a trip, right? Anything that has the word Belize in it gets put in the Belize folder. Anything. So I use these a lot, like a lot. Especially when you unsubscribed and they're like still hitting you up. Events. This is another one that I do often. Let's do something from trying not to show all my business. Okay, boom. So events. What if, okay. So for example, my calendar for success after this, I need to figure out what's wrong with my calendar, because everyone for the productivity party was added a long time ago to the invite, but you all didn't get that email notification or that invite on your calendar. And so, wait, why am I saying that? So if you didn't get an invite from me for a Google Calendar event, you know how you're attending a webinar and they're like, hey, the webinar is on this date and here are the Zoom details. It's like, that means nothing to me because it's not on my calendar. So I put it on my calendar. And you do that by, you hit the 3 dots, you create an event, and all of the information from that email, it goes in here. And that's it. And you just have to be careful. Here, it'll add the person that emailed you sometimes, and then you would just X them out, and then you save it. And then now you have it on your calendar with all of the information from the email. You can edit the email and only include the things that you actually want. You can do whatever you want, but this is a feature that I use a lot, especially for, again, mostly for like webinars and stuff, when you don't get an actual invite or you don't get that button to click to add to your Google Calendar. And then another one that I use often is snoozing. And I actually just did this. I had an email from the one, I had an email from someone else, and success in that email account folder. And I know that I'm going to use that right now, that space to teach you what we're talking about. But I know that I want to answer those emails, or I want to go back to them, right? So I snooze them until tomorrow morning. So I'm not checking them after this. So then you just snooze, and you can do tomorrow, you can do later this week, this weekend, next week, you can do your own, you can do whatever you want. So I use this a lot, especially when when your inbox is just like chill. And this may be, some people could be anti this. I actually think it is efficient. If I'm just like, yo, that's not being dealt with until next week, I just snooze it until next week. So I can at least just tackle the emails that are in my inbox right now, and then I'll get to those. And it just makes you feel better, right? To not have like that overwhelmment of looking at the emails. At least that's how I am. Out of sight, out of mind. So big one. And then there were two more things, but I feel like something else had just popped into my mind that I wanted to say. You can add to tasks. I don't really use that much. I think everyone knows labels. You can label anything, whatever you want. You can make a folder for the labels. So I do that a lot. Like when I subscribe to a lot of fitness programs and stuff. And so I put them all in one folder so that when I program workouts for other people, I always can reference all of the programming that I was given. Now I put it in Notion. Memories, notes for reference, build stuff, all that good stuff. So I use labels a lot as well. What else? I feel like there's one last thing I want to say, but there's something else. What's it about creating events? Can't remember. We'll pretend that I hit everything. So the last thing is, this is my game change, like at least for client management. I could not survive without this, for real. So for example, I have a client right now, as I'm doing it as a test. I've been an accountability coach for him for almost a month. And part of that means, at least for me, I make him a checklist for each day of the week in Notion. I save each day as a PDF, and I schedule the emails to send every morning at 6 a.m. So for him, he wakes up, he knows, he goes to his email and he has his checklist for the day. And because it's Notion, it's a PDF checklist, and I'm always just like, hey, it's attached, crush it today, you're an icon, don't forget to do this, your shit's attached. Super simple, game changer. Like, if you are ever managing clients and you have recurring emails. So I'm gonna send this to Megan. I'm sure I'm here, boom. Happy Monday. Icon, have a great day. You have a colleague, you have a former colleague, you're not that close with them, but you know that for some reason, their birthday's written down, or you know it's coming up, schedule this shit. Hey, Colleen, I was thinking of you. I hope you have a great day today. And you could schedule it last year. Your professors that you keep up with and you do know their birthday, or special days for them, schedule 5 at a time, for each year. You could do whatever. So all you do, you see how they send, and then there's this arrow, fun fact, is called a cache. What's in the chat? I haven't even been looking. Game changer. You're a game changer. You guys are funny. That's what that's for. So silly. I had to open that to tell you or something, but I'm like, I can show you here because you can see my screen. It's this cache. And so this is a cache. Schedule sent. Monday morning, boom. So now I'll get that email, done. You got to follow up with your landlord, schedule it, anything, you can do anything. There's so many different ways, right, that you can do it. So everything I'm telling you, get creative. And again, my goal is you take at least one thing that you can start using now from each category.
So May, you said you could do that like a year in advance. It says to Monday. Does that mean you could keep going, or you could change the dates on that?
I'll show you. Because like with my clients, it's all specific. So same as the create event, how it was, snooze, when it was like pick a time, same thing. Boom. Whatever you want. Time, day, and the time is always going to be your current time zone. So wherever you are right now is what it will be based on. And that's it.
Life changer.
You have students you have to follow up with, schedule the emails ahead of time. You have check-ins, schedule the email ahead of time. You want to maybe follow up with the client, and you had a call with them, pre-schedule the email and include your Calendly and say, hey, it's been a month since we spoke. I can't wait to catch up. I would love another session. Here's the link to book, Yeah, so many things. Have fun with it. How are we doing on time? 6:25. Nice. I, of course, have this broken down by time because why else would we be here? Okay. Google Calendar, AKA Bay. Google Calendar is my life. So, okay, I'm going to preface this. I wish I could show you, maybe I can on my phone. I have all these lives, basically. I have Flowers, I have Life Made, I have Megan Burke, I have my, my personal clients that are outside of Life Made Easy. I am very specific. And if you're my friend, for example, or if you booked calls with me, you'll see things come from different email addresses. And that's very intentional. when they come to different email addresses. I keep my life compartmentalized, and I have everything on its own calendar where it belongs. And then on my phone, I'm logged into all of those email accounts. And so again, I'm team Android. So my widget is everything is integrated. And so now I have all 4 calendars all here. So I know everything that's happening, but it's still separated. It's just that I happen to see it here because it brings it all together. So so every morning, that's how I start my day. I wake up, well, every night I end by going through what I have to do. I put it into Notion as a checklist. That's like the page I work in. I can show you I'll show you right now, actually.
You said that's a widget?
Yeah, it's a widget. It's the Google Calendar widget.
Okay, sweet.
Let's do so this is me. Let's do Tuesday. So every day I have my commitments and I have my morning routine. And so the night before, I write out every meeting I have, every power hour that's scheduled. And then my power hours, I actually write like this. I do power hour at 5 p.m. And then you know how I'm very strict about make your to-do list before you come. I organize my to-do list for the power hour before I come in for each one. So then now I just come in, boom, power hour time. Oh, it's the 9 a.m. power hour. Just kidding, that would never happen. But oh, it's the 3 p.m. power hour. And the to-do list is already there, so I don't have to think about it. So every night, this is what I do in bed. And then every morning when I do finally look at my phone, or even before I talk to people, I still just check my calendar real quick. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. So let's go back. Boom. Okay. So why was I telling you that though? Oh, it was just to say, so you can separate your calendars by your life and then just add all of them on your phone. Do it however you do it on your phone. Again, my widget is, I probably have had it like this set up for at least 5 years. With that, you saw this shit looks like the rainbow, right? Let me break you down to my colors. So I am big on color coordination. And let me show you, I'll show you my personal calendar first. Oh, it's already open. So orange, everything for me, cross calendars is the same. And so if you look to Life Made, it'll be this, not my spam folder. It'll be the same thing. Yo, Zoom, the way Zoom just moves around while you're doing things, it's like, why would you think that I wanted you to move? Why wouldn't you stay still? So across calendars, pay Rennie, everything alert, everything that is like time sensitive, you got to do this right now is red. Anything that's like, you got to do this, it's pink. Anything that is a Zoom meeting is yellow. And that one is my main one because that way, you know, in a pandemic world, you can look at your phone and just know when you got to get cute real quick or when you got to be presentable. So that's why I like it, is that anything that I'm going to be on camera, I can just look and know, oh, okay, 2 p.m. I got to wash my face. And so orange is a task. Peach, flamingo. This one is wellness. So my massages, anything where I do a lot of barters with women. So we work on an hour for business admin and they teach me yoga for an hour. Anything that is purple because that's just anything that's a barter. I color in purple. So that way I can see how much time I'm dedicating per week to barters because they're dope and it's a great exchange. But I also want to make sure that, you know, I could pay for a yoga class. But I also love helping women with their businesses. So it works for all of us. What else do I have? And then anything money related is green. That's pretty much it. Oh, and birthdays are blue. It's blue. So, I mean, you can make your own, you can use 2 colors, you know, you can use 5 colors. And let me show you something. So for example, what calendar is this? This is Life Made. So we're going to change this right now, actually, because this is Megan's main business email. And for the most part, what gets scheduled is Zoom meetings. So I'm going to actually just go ahead and change my default color to yellow because honestly, And so these are all of your calendar settings. Oh, and I've been wanting to change this for a minute. This is where you would change the language. It gets very annoying all the time, particularly in Google spreadsheets, because then it makes the currency pounds. And I'm just like, I haven't been in the UK for a minute. Why would you think that? Time zones. This is a big one. Because they just fuck me up every time. So I'm in Cancun and Mexico doesn't change. So I'm back in Dallas now. Whereas before I was put back in New York. And so when you schedule a meeting, and what's an example of some, I mean, there aren't many times that you would have to do this, but there are some times where you would have to do this. So for me, for example, if I schedule my meetings with Rennie, I would want to say, Rennie and I usually meet at 1 p.m. I would want to say, let's make it big. We usually meet at 1 p.m. So I would want to say 1 p.m. time zone, attach it to Rennie's time zone, Eastern Standard. So now, I'm sorry, yeah, Eastern time. So now, no matter what happens, this meeting is attached to Rennie's time, not mine. So when you have recurring meetings like that, you can attach them to, especially when you are going to be traveling. Like, it is just, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced it. It can just mess up your whole calendar. And so if you can foresee something like that, then this is the time where you would use that feature. And then second feature, an example of when I used this was when I used to lead group trips of like 30 digital nomads around the world. And so I would have to I was on the operations team, shocker of the year. And I would have to set up our flight plans basically, right? And like put the flights into Google Calendar and invite everyone to the invite. How do you put in a flight we went from Melbourne to Buenos Aires. How do you put that into a calendar, right? You would say, we're leaving Melbourne time. You separate start and end time zones. The end time that I put is Buenos Aires. And then on your calendar, you'll actually see, let's say the flight is 17 hours, the flight will actually be the proper 17 hours. So there aren't many times, that I can really think of. Honestly, I can't really think of anything other than that, where you would have to use that, but it is a feature if you need it. And so that's that. And so let's go back. I want to change my default color. So I love Google Calendar settings. They're actually like super customizable, at least for someone like me who, I mean, I just want to, when I open a new event, I just want to be able to like boom, 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 and whatever is standard is already filled in. And so this is not my personal calendar, so it's fine, but I have two particular things that I do on my like Megan Burke, You can change your standard time. So maybe in an hour for work, you usually meet 30 minutes all the time with your people. So you just put 30 minutes. Maybe you always meet 45 minutes. You're like, we usually meet for 45 minutes. Let me just save that one click, right? And let me just put it for 45 minutes. This one, huge. If you work in me, actually, I'm gonna change this right now. I'm taking all these off. I don't want you to know who's coming. That's none of your business. And so if you're having public events where you're adding people to a calendar, if you're planning campus events, if you're planning dance classes, they don't need to know other people's personal information. So this one is a huge one that I always, even if I do it manually, I'll show you where it is. I usually always check these. It's right here. Invite others, see guest lists, always uncheck them for things that are public. And then modify event is always unchecked. But if I had a meeting with Rennie, I could put modify event. She can change it, whatever, if we have to adjust, I don't care. So boom. I'm going to get to this color, I promise. I don't do notifications. I don't like any notifications. Show weekends. For my work calendar, I don't show weekends because I'm not working. Show declined events. I actually don't like that. Show week numbers. I don't care. Time is a lie. Display shorter events as 30 minutes. I'm actually going to say yes, just to create a buffer. Yeah, I always reduce the brightness of past events. What's your first day of the week? I'm actually going to change this to 5 days. So you can set up how many days you want to see in this main view right here. How many do you want to see at once? And you can also change that up here. You can do day. You're like, I only want to see today. I want to see the month. And you see how it has 4 days? that's because right here I have 4 days. So I'm gonna do 5. And then when I save this, that will say 5 days. What else? Working hours. If you have a standard like a 9 to 5, you can put your specific hours, and then no one can invite you to events outside of those hours because you're like, nah, I'm not there. And it'll automatically put that time as busy. Keyboard shortcuts, cool. Let's get to my fun stuff. Where are my colors?
Is this in conjunction to your Calendly, or do you use this more? Because I'm watching this and I'm looking at the features and they're kind of similar, but
I use this more, and I do have a note in a second about Calendly because it is important. So I will mention something. So if I don't mention Calendly, mention Calendly again. I can't find my colors. Oh, I know what it is. It's actually not here. It's right here. So this is my calendar. Boom. And you can change, you know, I'm gonna say that by default, it's probably gonna be yellow. So I'm gonna change it to yellow, but you have to know that it's gonna change everything else. So now I'm actually gonna change this to gray. For all day events, I usually do gray, just so everything doesn't get messed up. Yeah, and that's it for that. So like, again, even if you pick just 2 colors, like even if my main motivation was honestly the pandemic, it was knowing when I was gonna be on Zoom. So even if you just pick a Zoom color, just so you know when you're about to, you know, again, be presentable, then even that's enough. Here's my note about Calendly. Okay, actually, let me tell you one thing first while we're here. So other calendars, this is where those annoying, at least for me, they're annoying. Like I don't live in one place. I don't care about holidays at all. And some places I have Thai holidays, Balinese holidays. That's where, if you have those, this is where that is, other calendars. And so if there's anything under here, that's where they would be, and you can delete them. You can also make your own. You can subscribe to a calendar. So if I gave you the productivity party link, which actually may be the solution to this issue, then you can just subscribe to those events, and then you just have that calendar now of just those events. So, oh, you're like, well, in what ways could I use this? With your family? You know, maybe you and your family, you really like to plan outings together. So you can make a family calendar, and then all the events that are on there, you know, are for your family. Work meetings, you know, you guys can, your team, the marketing team. And then the marketing team has its own calendar, and then they can just add events there as they wish. And then if they want someone to join all the marketing team emails, if they want someone to join all of the marketing team events, and you don't want to sit and add them to each event, you can just create a calendar, and then you get a URL, and you can just share the URL. Let's say fam, create the calendar. Now you have your family calendar. You can add people if you want. So instead of adding them individually, you can just add one person. I'm big on default event notifications. I always do 10 minutes. And for my personal, for everything on my end, I always do 10 minutes, and I always do an hour, just to give me a heads up. And then this is your link. So this is the public URL. You can give this to anyone else. If you use iCalendar on a Mac, that's right here. And you can just integrate everything into your iCalendar. Also, I believe if for some reason you have to use Microsoft Office for work, you can use this same link to integrate them, to bring it into your Microsoft Office. And you can, so it's like, if you do have to use other calendars, you can integrate them together. If I wanted to have the productivity party, because I have the productivity party as its own. Where's my success? Please tell me if I'm going so quickly. You know, New England problems. Couldn't speak slowly if I was paid. So productivity party I made its own calendar. All the general events are on its own. Fitness check-ins are on their own. And that way I can just add people to the calendars. Again, compartmentalizing, it's my jam. Okay, now, how we doing for time? Okay, cool. So Calendly, we're gonna talk about Calendly next month. I am a huge proponent, and it's Black owned, so we love it. And here's how, so count, you know how I have all these calendars, like Calendly, I can show you if you want. And again, don't pay attention to anything that I'm saying. We're gonna go over this at a later date. But just to show you. And there is a Calendly free plan. And it means that if you have a free plan, you only have one of these type of events, but you can still get a lot done with just one event. And I didn't start paying for this until I really needed it for my business. So if you're gonna use Calendly for your personal life, then you can still just use a free version.
They give you 3 now.
Oh, dope. Oh, you can do a lot with 3. Oh, I know why I switched. And payment too. I had to accept payment for consults. These are my calendars. You can add up to 6. And so I have the 4. Yo, you know when you make tea and you completely forget? Problems. So you add the calendars, right, that you want Calendly to reference, and then you specifically say, though, which ones do you want to check for conflicts? So I want to check all of these accounts get checked before, basically when someone comes to book with me. And so LifeMade/chat, I embedded my main Calendly link into my website, so that when someone wants to chat with me, this is just my free session, like maybe it's my friends, maybe it's whatever, they can just come here. This is all of this 26 to 22, everything that's great, it probably means that it's because I have some other things going on and there's no availability in that time. And here's how I use that to my advantage. So let me go to my calendar. We can actually, that's Command W or Control W if you ever want to close a tab. So I was out of town. I was in the jungle. When you make, let's pretend I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. Actually, I'm about to put this for real just in case no one books with me because I'm tired. So I'm going to say, leave me alone. No, I don't want to say that because that's not me. I'm sleeping. So I'm going to say I'm sleeping. Now, when you make, when you create an event and it's like just a regular event, how we've been doing, the default is that it's busy. When you create an all-day event, the default is that you're free, because I mean, which makes sense, right? You think of an all-day event as like your friend's birthday or things that you really want to have. I'm in Jamaica, your vacations, you want to have it marked on your calendar. You don't necessarily want it to block your calendar. But when I do my out of offices, I do actually want it to block my calendar because I don't, mainly because it's attached to my Calendly and I don't want people to book with me. So all day is the event and you just change this to busy. And so I think actually, let's see, LifeMade, let's do chat. Today's the 17th, right? Okay, so right now I can book for tomorrow. So let's do a little test. So all day, it's not yellow, right? Because it's not a Zoom meeting, so it's gray. And then that's it. I'm busy. It's not, that's that calendar I just made, right? That I called fam. This is where you would put it. You would choose the calendar that you want to put it on. So save. All right, let's see. Boom, 18's gone, can't book me. Done, game changer. I'm gonna leave that. And so, yeah, so that's how like, again, my calendar, because then I can be on my phone, right? Real quick, you know what? Let me make sure no one booked. I think next Wednesday, I want to get a massage in the morning. So let me put a tentative invite, because then it'll block out my calendar. And if I don't have that massage, I can just delete it whenever, but just in case, it's there. Cool. So that's all of my Google Calendar stuff, because I want to make sure we have time for Google spreadsheets. And I want to get you out of here in like 25 minutes more. Do you have any questions before I move on?
To clarify, sorry, how do you make, you made different calendars. Can you go over that one more time? Like how you just created that?
But which ones? Do you mean the different do you mean the different calendars that I see like on my phone? Or do you mean like when if you want a family calendar or a productivity party calendar?
The second one. The phone one is all on a widget. I got that one down.
Okay.
The second one.
Definitely. So let's do it actually. Let's do it in success. And I'm actually gonna use this one. I just thanks to Nanoa, Reddy and I met our interns today. They're so cute.
They're so great. Go Gophers. I love them.
They're so sweet. And so we're gonna make and Rennie's here, so now she knows. Yo, Zoom, I swear. These damn hovers. We're gonna make a calendar for them. What am I gonna call it? I'll rename it later. I'll call it interns for now. I'm gonna have it attached to actually Eastern Standard Time just because, you know, it's more relatable. But what is Eastern Standard Panama? No, because Cancun's -5. Where's New York? Just give me New York. Detroit? New York, okay. Boom, create it. All right. Now we got our thing. So I don't really need to change much here. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. And so now I have these links. I have, I have these public links that I can share. I have this code that I can embed. I think I can even show you here. New window. Open as a page. This is a bit of a sidebar, but for all my nerds. Oh, you can only embed with the link. Let's see. You could probably embed in Notion. Let's try. I've never tried. Because Rennie, is this how you've been embedding the calendar or no? No, this looks like this is a link to it. But that's where you could, if you wanted to embed on your website, for example, I wanted to have my calendar on if I wanted to have oh my God, I'm doing this. Ooh, I'm gonna embed the productivity party calendar on the productivity platform in Squarespace. Boom. And I'm gonna do that with this source code. Boom. So many things, right? There's just so many things you can do, but that's it. And when you ever want to, reference it, maybe you're like, maybe you don't have interns for the next 3 months. You don't need that right now. So you check it off. So you don't even got to see it. Or maybe it's the marketing team and it doesn't even pertain to you. And then from here is where you can change the colors, the settings if you want to get back to them. If you only want to see that calendar, if you don't want to see that calendar, that's it. So you can have one with your girls. You can, so many different ways that I've used that. With travel, right? If you're traveling and you wanted to make a travel itinerary, you can make a travel itinerary with that. And then you could just share the itinerary with that link. Boom. So many things, so many things.
Megan, I have a quick question just about intersecting the Outlook calendar with the Google calendar. We don't have to go too deep into it, but I know people have said you could do it before, but when I tried it initially, it didn't work. So I was like, well, I'll just tap through, but it's really annoying because we use Google so much. It's just that we're not all transitioned to so bizarre. So
not all in 2021.
Right.
When we're done, you and I can just stay on real quick.
Okay.
It is, I've done it before. I mean, I haven't used Outlook since like 2008.
Right. Goucher.
Yes, it's Goucher, yo, for real. Yeah. But I know it's possible. So we'll just stay on it and figure it out.
Thank you.
For sure. And what was I saying? Oh, calendar. Any last questions, comments, concerns, dad jokes? So many things. All you gotta do is take one thing that you just learned and apply it now. And I mean, I gave you colors as one of them, so pretty good homework. All right, let's do sheets. Okay, I'm not gonna get crazy on Google spreadsheets because I am an Excel. Oh my God, I just love data. I love large data. I love manipulating large data. And so I use Google Sheets in a stupid amount of like different amount of ways, but we're gonna use the the simpler ones. And then if you're interested at a later date in how I manipulate data in Google spreadsheets, like large amounts of data, please let me know. We can make, that'll probably be its own course. It could be a one-off. It doesn't even have to be the productivity party or any requests you have. Just as a side note, we can have one-offs. If there's anything you want to dive deeper into, got you. So we're gonna do fun facts. If you ever want a new Google Doc, you do doc.new. If you want a new, there are a few of them. So like I'm gonna do sheet.new. What are the other ones? I forget. Those are the main two that I learned. I wonder if we can do a form. Let's see.
This is why you get so much done so quickly. You know, all these shortcuts.
Wow, I did not know that.
We all about the efficiency. We all about the productivity party, you feel me? That's what I'm here for. Yes, I am lazy. And so I need everything to be as efficient as possible. And yeah, I think it's these three: sheet.new, doc.new, form.new, and gamechanger. And again, Command T or Control T, new tab, Command W, Control W, new tab. So my goal, just as a side note, when I'm on my computer, is to actually use my mouse as little as possible. I want to use my fingers on the keyboard. I want to keep my fingers on the keyboard as much as possible. So that's why I'm big on commands. If you notice, I'm not really moving my mouse that much. So boom. Okay. Oh, guys, so many things I could say. So many things. I'm like, let me start simple. Let me see what I wrote. Okay. I think I showed you quick commands. We're gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna show you I'll show you two ways that you can use Google spreadsheets in your like day-to-day. The first one, we're actually gonna build it out together. So we're gonna build I can speak English, I promise. A job hunt tracker. So when I was working for the man, or when I wanted to work for a new man and leave the old man, I every single time have had a tracker, probably since I was in high school, to the point where I posted the templates in Facebook groups, and years later, I've ended up on teams with people, and they've been like, yo, are you Megan Burke? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yo, I just found this job application tracker that you posted in this group 5 years ago. And I'm like, that's me. So these are game changers. And also just because when you're applying for jobs, like I can't, there's no way I could do that without a tracker. And because it is all in Google, right? It's all integrated with Google. This is just a random aside. Let me get one. What can I show you? Let me go to flowers. I link, okay, bear with me, English. So you have seen my Notion before. Let me show you, let's go back to anywhere. Let's go to Tuesday. Okay, in my Notion, you see right here, I always, if there's a page for me to talk about or to reference, the page gets linked here. So whether that's a Notion page or a website page or whatever, whenever I come to do a task, I want to be able to have everything that I need to start going, because the way my attention span is set up, there's no hope. So it just has to all be there already. Something I do is when maybe it's like put Nanella's feedback into Notion, because I have a feedback board in Notion where I have every person who said it, what they said it about, all yada, yada, yada. If I wanted that, I want to reference her email. I just copy the URL. And so now you can reference emails. This is your Gmail. So you can reference the specific email with this URL, paste it into a new bar. Boom, it's the same email. So if you have a job hunt tracker and you're communicating on a thread, with the company, you could have a thing that's like email thread, and then you link to the thread instead of having to go into your email and search for it. Or, when you just have emails just sitting in your inbox because you want to reference them later, These are those kind of emails, right? So you could just have them all here so you don't have to just have them just sitting there in your inbox. So that's just an aside. So let's build it. Let's do, so if I was applying for jobs, I would care about, okay, here's what I would do. I would do application sent, date, that would be the date that I'm sending the application, company, the role or the title of the job, salary, because what are we here for? And what else matters? Oh, so then I would do last contact. That'll be the date or the time that I last spoke to them. Point of contact is going to be that main person. POC, oh, now I can't person of color, I can't even put point of contact anymore. Point of contact email and notes, right? And maybe there are other things you want to add here. Let's just say that, oh, you know what? Let's do, I need something where we need like a drop down.
Maybe like the vibe that you got from the conversation.
Okay, I love that. I love
high or something.
Love it. So maybe we'll put it here, vibe. What, if you were gonna judge the vibe, what would your categories be?
Alignment, shabby, nah.
Love it, perfect. All right, we're gonna leave those there for now, and then I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with them. Perfect. So let's format it, because if it's not pretty, we don't want it. Come on. Here, I'm sure everyone is like this, where you pull up a doc or a spreadsheet and you got like your standard, like, all right, hold on, let me just clean up, like the main things. So mine are, I always align everything to wrap, because I always align everything to be centered in the middle. So that way, if you have notes, you see how that's little switch there, boom, it's down at the bottom, versus it just looks a little cleaner. It looks a lot cleaner, actually. And then everything for me is centered. And let's do, so I tapped the notes button. You hit command or you hit control, you hit shift and you hit left. And then let's do, we want money, so we're gonna do green. I wonder if we just started counting how many times I say money in any meeting. Let's do, one day Google will let us make a universal default. Let's do Montserrat. And then date, we don't even need that to be that big for real. It's just a date. I want this to actually be sent. I want this to be as small as possible. This first one, I'm gonna show you why in a second. Sent, boom. Date can be a little bigger. Company will probably be a little bigger. Role and title will be bigger. Salary is fine. Salary, we're gonna tap this. We're gonna hit command shift down. And we're gonna tap currency, because that's gonna be money. It's not gonna be words. We're gonna add a border, always. And last contact, this will be a date. And if you wanna be specific, you can command shift down, format, date, and command up brings you back to the most recently, to the next filled cell. Point of contacts, who that is, their email, we'll make it a little bigger. And then notes, I always make super long, because they're notes. And we don't want your alignment to look all funky. So that's it. So now, since I would want a checkbox, right? And then, because if I have a checkbox, I can sort it by which roles have I not applied to yet, if I wanted to sit down for a session and beast, right, and tackle the applications. And so command shift down, we're gonna insert a checkbox. Now we have checkboxes. We already know our date. Let's do a sample. Let's do 1/12/21. This is looking like a link. I wonder why. What's here? Oh, is this where I put the email? No, I never did that. Am I tripping? Okay. Something is linked here. Let's see what it is. I'm curious. It doesn't
I
click.
think it's when you put the link maybe last time, like to show us that example before, it just stayed.
That's so weird. Okay, let's paste over it. We don't want it. So let's get rid of those. Let's say 121. 21. Company, life made easy. Chief Maven. Salary, all of it. All of it. Last contact was yesterday. We'll get to the vibe in a second. Point of contact is Megan. And then, you know, my email. Vibe. We're gonna take these three. This is one of my main, like I would say probably the most used feature of Google Spreadsheets for me. I always make a sheet and I call it drop downs. So pretty much any type of sheet I have, I'm gonna have a tab called drop downs. And whenever that tab is done, when it's fulfilled, I'm gonna just hide it, right? Because you don't need to reference your drop downs anymore. So what I always do is, and we said vibe, right? I'll put whatever the corresponding, header is, and then we'll put Nanoa's options for us. And it's not that big of a deal, whatever. I don't usually format, but I will do something like this just to make it clear that, it's a header and it's not part of the drop down, just to keep your shit together. So now all you do, you go to the vibe column, Command Shift down, right? Because you want the whole cell. Data validation. You don't have to change anything. All you want to say is where am I getting those drop downs from? You hit the range, and then we're going to go to the range. And quick note, when you hit the range, you see how we have just 3? Don't hit just 3. Hit mad of them. Go away. So let's do at least, honestly, I'd be doing like 100, and I'll tell you why. So I do more because it's always going to reference this column and it's always going to reference these cells. So that way, as you think of new vibes, you don't have to update all the cells to say, oh, let me count A7, A8. Just put like 800. And then every time you think of a new vibe, you can add it here. And we'll do that right now. That's it. Save. Let's go back to our sheet. Boom, we got drop downs. And so now you're like, oh, what's the vibe? Is shabby. Boom, so we know it's shabby. Now let's add a new one. Bombastic. That's another option. Boom, another option. Now, let's talk about filters real quick. So we're gonna check this. Let's copy these a little bit actually. Paste, just to have some examples. Uncheck. We'll call this company A, B, C, D. We'll leave it as company. We're gonna tap there because we want to get everything. We're gonna data. Actually, 2 ways to do this. Data, create a filter, or you see the little filter icon right there? Same. Create a new filter. And so now you can, the same as like, we talked about this in Notion with the boards and the tables, how you can make different filter views. You can do the same thing here. You can have a shabby view. You can have a, whatever view. You can have a view you could filter by salary minimums. I only want to see roles with salaries of 200,000 or more. And so now I'm going to say, show me everything I applied for. So I can show me everything I applied for so I can follow up. And actually, that's a key thing to add here, just for the logistics of this is related to actually applying to jobs. A big reason why I made this spreadsheet in the first place is because I would put like right here, honestly, I would say like, this is application date, but this is next follow-up date. And I always call follow-up FLU, next follow-up. because this way you can always, so I time how I communicate with, or would have, when I didn't work for myself, when I would speak to someone, when I would reach out to them. So if I sent in a job application, I'm following up with you a week later. So I would make it so that I would instantly, as I sent the job app, I would put it here. And in my job application, when I write cover letters, when I would write emails, I would say in the last sentence, if I do not hear from you by this date, I will follow up with you via email, or I will follow up with David via email on this date specifics. And that way, you're telling them I'm giving you time to look it over, but if I don't hear from you, I'm going to follow up on this date. Then I would take that date and I'll put it here. And then every day, because I would treat applying for a job like a full-time job, my first task when I would come in, let's say the filter, for everything for today, I would come in, I would filter, give me everything for today. And then boom, I can just go through, follow up with all these motherfuckers, have a Gmail template. Oh, we didn't talk about templates. We got to go back. That would be our last thing. And yeah, and then so game changer. I'm actually going to end right there because like this, I think we'll probably have a one-off on Google spreadsheets. Because when I tell you, there's so many things I want to tell you right now, but it's too much. And so this will be like our intro, and I'll plan one soon. We'll have it like within the next 2 or 3 weeks to do one, just Excel. Just Google spreadsheets. Let me see though, if that's everything I wanted to say about. Yeah, I'll show you one last thing. So I'm not, okay, actually I can think of something where it matters. Your money sheet, maybe like for me, for example, I don't like, not that I don't like, I love Google spreadsheets for the formulas, which is really why I want us to have a separate session, because formulas are so fun. And they're very simple until they're not. But I still use Google Sheets for my money management, all that type of stuff, because Notion does have formulas, but they're a bit like convoluted. So if I had a money sheet page, you can embed anything with Google Drive. So I'm gonna do, we'll call it whatever, because it's just an example, but we'll see whatever's here. Untitled, this is one that we just made together. And now all of your money notes, maybe you made a budget in Notion, maybe you made, I don't know, maybe you store, whatever you store that's money related, it goes here now. So you can have everything there, and then you can also just have your spreadsheet here for easy access. Something that bothers me, and I'm actually really salty that they did this, Notion just changed this feature like maybe a few months ago. Before you could live update it, which is dope. And I don't know why they got rid of that. So now it's like, because it's like, I like it like this, but at the same time, what's the difference between saying money sheet and just leaking this to the money sheet? It's pretty much the same thing, right? So just an FYI, I do wish they had kept that though. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because we're gonna do a separate one. I'm sold. It's done. Do you have any for the interim spreadsheet questions? Pretty straightforward. Templates. So I'm going to show you templates before we go. So do I have any here? I'm sure I have some here. Compose. No, probably not here actually. Where's my life made? Now I have all these examples open. I'm like, no, go away. Go away. You can go away. Yeah, we don't need it. Here we go. Compose. So here are my templates. I'm sure I have a few resume ones. Templates are fire for particularly for client management or sales. I would say client management and sales, their templates are essential because, so for example, when I was designing resumes, I always had my intake email and the intake email, I need these things from you. I need this from you. I need this from you. I could type that out every time, or what you end up doing when you go back to an email that you sent that was similar and then you copy, you paste it, and then you make a new one. It's like, who has the time? So instead you just make a template. And so something to know about the template is you want to delete your signature first because the template is going to save everything that's in that page at that moment. So you're going to delete this because then it'll add it to it later. Your subject is going to be the title of the template by default. Maybe this is my onboarding email for interns. Welcome to the team. Then I'm going to say, hey, loser, get in. We're going shopping. Signature is already there, right? So I don't need it, but I do need a space before the signature pops off. Now, templates, save draft as template. Do I want to replace? Do I want to overwrite one of my other templates? Or do I want to save as a new template? You can change this name right here, but it will change the email subject. Just a heads up. So I'm going to keep it the same. Now, delete. Welcome to the team. Bang. The email's there. And so I have a bunch of these already. I have like this, I think this one is, yeah, ready to get started with your resume. Can actually delete these. RIP. Track your way to success, replay. So many things. But honestly, if there's any, whether it's in your personal or your professional life, if there is any email that you send more than once, just period, in general, more than once, make it a template. Especially if you're doing it more than once in 1 week, or more than once in 1 day. Yeah. And that's it. How you feel? That's why I'm like, let me stop.
Honestly, my favorite hack was the group.
Oh yeah, that's a great question. What were your favorite hacks? The group one is a game changer.
Wait, which group one?
You mean the group, the tabs, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
group and tabs. Yeah.
What the rest of you? What were your favorite hacks?
I mean, same. I just didn't know I didn't know any of this existed. Let's just be real. So.
Oh, thank you for saying I'm not lazy. Appreciate it. I'm not
You're
lazy. I can be, but I'm not yet.
You're not.
I think the calendar for me is probably the best because I'm such a airy person, like by nature, that to get something organized by like specific subjects is going to be amazing.
So
It was nice to have a refresher with some of these because again, the whole Google Outlook thing, it just makes it very hard to keep consistent because it's like two worlds and like they're colliding a lot of the time. So yeah, there's so many things though. I think that creating those, they weren't tabs, but the personal professional profiles.
that's what Celia just said.
Yeah, I think that's the game changer.
Okay, dope. Yes, word, because they can see all your shit.
I usually do incognito, but
yeah, right. Like even that's the real shit though. Is even in incognito, your company can still see everything.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Even in incognito?
What?
They own
No.
it. I know because I've looked at it because I've had teams where I was the admin.
No, right? Don't say that. Oh my gosh, the whole
It's
time.
the same as, you know how when you forget your password for something, you go into your password manager and Google Chrome. Google Chrome knows your passwords more than you do. Your job knows your passwords more than you do.
Oh.
Yo.
But it's okay. Now you know that's the initial homework.
I'm
Game
definitely
changer.
just like a bunch of times.
And actually, again, we can stay on and look. There may be, if you're interested, how we said, bringing, for those of you who use Outlook, bringing your Google things to Outlook. I think what I used to do was actually bring my Outlook emails. I would just forward them. Yo, that is what I would do. Excuse me, that is what I would do. I would forward my emails to a Gmail and then have an alias. Oh, we didn't talk about alii. Okay, there'll be another one. No worries. There's just so many things.
Look, I'm like, what you mean?
Okay,
What?
long story short, I'll tell you quickly because as a business owner and for professional stuff, it is helpful. So an alias is, you know how I have success at, well, let me see if I can pull it up. This will be our, I promise, last thing.
Can we also have a session on how you did that? How you created all those different @s? Because you have like different Gmails for everything. And I'm like, are you setting up different accounts or what? But
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Yep, that's it. And like half of them I pay for. I think it's here. I'm gonna see if I can find it. If I can, I'll show you.
I can't believe incognito.
I know.
I'm
It's
just
such a lot. Such a lot.
So then if you do this work personal thing, then they can still see the personal. Because for me, it was to have access to my personal Gmail because of the calendars and all that stuff.
Actually, well, facts. Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Yeah.
Okay, so they still can. It's just a better way to compartmentalize for ourselves.
Yeah, but it's true because that's why I think that's why I was having my emails sent to my Gmail account rather than because, and I'll show you right now.
Yeah.
Here's how I did that. So when I would have a job that had Microsoft Outlook, I would add to send from other emails. Okay, cool. I would add the email address here. And actually, I'm going to change Megan Burke name. Okay. So add another email address. Check mail from other accounts. You add your Microsoft Outlook accounts to this. And then when you add another email address, you'll be able to choose which email. I think I can show you in my personal. Let me see. I think I still have it attached to like a Hotmail or some shit. Compose. Yeah, you see this? You see the cafe? Tap it. I still have a Hotmail. So then you'll be able to choose which email you send the email from. Or also when you add it, it defaults to replying with the email that it was sent to. You feel me? So if they emailed your professional email account, it defaults to responding from your professional email account.
I just didn't know that I'm in Google.
Right, exactly. So that's how this is how I did it. And if you try it and you need more help, tell me. But it's very, very straightforward. Again, let me go back to it. And you can do this with also if you have, you know how, I mean, all of us, we're all pretty much within a 10-year gap of age or whatever that is in English. And you know how we have like our bullshit email accounts for our spam and then like our Facebook or whatever. If you had, in theory, you had those email addresses and you actually cared about what was going to them, you could have all of them. That's why I have my Hotmail, because probably in like 07, I still cared about what emails were going to my Hotmail. And so I had it there so that I would just have everything come to in my email into that Gmail, because I'm not going to look at Hotmail every day. I don't care. And then you can also, when you do that, they can filter, right? We talked about filters. We talked about create a filter to, so if it's sent to your work email address, it goes into that folder, right? If it's sent to my Hotmail, it goes into my Hotmail folder. So that way, if I do want to see that dumbass shit that was sent to my Hotmail, I can. But even if I don't, cool. But if I do, I don't have to go into Hotmail just to look for it. So yes, that is how I would do this. And it's all this page, it's settings, and it's the accounts tab. And if anything, you may need just to get, you know, there's like a pop. Hold on, let me see if it shows. So when you just go through these steps and it'll walk you through, but there are different like numbers that it'll need. Again, try it, holla at me, and we can hop on a call. And then I'll just record the call so that we have it for practice. Actually, I wouldn't do that because then that would just give away all your business, but I'll make a tutorial off of it. Okay, now that's officially it. Good. Any questions for now? We're gonna do 50 million more of these. Again, I can talk about Google all day. And again, like I said, we're gonna do a one-off. If you're watching this in the future, I hope you enjoyed. And holla at me if you have any questions.